Hi guys, how are you? Welcome into another day. Welcome into another day. It's day 8 of Vibe Coding, and I can't wait to see what we are going to build today. In case you have joined, smash that like button. You're getting started anytime from now. Getting anytime from now. Getting started anytime from now. I hope you have been doing good. Give me a like in case you are watching. If you are joining the call, just say hi. Where are you joining it from? Give me a like, guys. You can chat on the chat. You can type anything on the chat. The chat is open. You guys feel free to say hi. And yeah, it's really awesome. It's really awesome to see you here in my day 8 of vibe coding with AI tools and see how far can AI do. And actually, you have been building so many products. You have been building so many products. I'm going to show you what we are going to be building today and see how far we can achieve this. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome session. You're going to explore different tools, MongoDB, uh, Firebase authentication, all those stuff we are going to make sure that we work on today. It's purely a Manstack project, purely a Manstack project. You can invite your friends. This one is getting started with Manstack. Manstack, that is MongoDB, React, Express.js, and Node.js. You are going to see everything that you need to get started with, and actually how can you start your React app, how can you structure it, how can you make it better. Yeah, that's what we are going to be covering today, purely Manstack. You guys can give me a like in case you have joined. In case you are new here, welcome to day 8. Today it's purely Manstack. I'm just saying it's purely Manstack. So let's just get started right away and see what tools we are going to be building. Let's see our today's tool. And there we go. There we go. There you go. This is the tool that we are going to be purely building. Actually building an awesome website like this. This one is called SketchB. And in this tool, we are going to be experimenting a variety of tools. For example, you are going to create an authentication system, purely an authentication system, an awesome front end just like this. And we can get started. We can sign in with multiple accounts right here. You can see. Let me sign in. Let me just refresh. And sign in, get started here. We just get started here. Few bugs in this system. Let's see. There we go. You can sign in with any account. Let me just sign in with this new account right here. And this is the tool. Woo, there we go. You can see a list of activities, a list of boards here. This is the main tool that we are creating. Basically, this good tool here that you can see here. We can create a new board. In this new board here, let's see what we can do here. With these awesome tools, just see all these awesome diagrams here, and we can take any diagram of our choice and we can build with any diagram. For example, like this, we can build a diagram just like this. We can build these kind of diagrams here. We can move them around. We can just move them around. We can add things like the star right here. All these awesome tools here. In these tools, we can select properties and we can add the color for this tool. Ooh, this is awesome. We can add this we can give this tool some colors right here. And actually, you see, if I click outside, this is going to disappear. But if I select this, you can clearly see it's adding all those different colors right here. So this is our tool for today. You can see we can resize, we can move around, and actually, if I refresh, if I move it here and I refresh, there you go, nothing has changed, everything is still stuck here. And for the good thing, you see this document is untitled, but if I just say test live, test YouTube live, if I do test YouTube live, this one has been automatically saved in the database. You see, nothing, we are not clicking anything to save in the database. Everything is being saved in real time in the database. We are going to explore things like Socket.io. For example, I can just select this and I can move these things around. I can comfortably move them around with no any problem. What a feature, what a tool, what a tool. And we have tons of diagrams that we can select here, a ton of tools that we can select here. See, we can add properties here. We can add the size, actual size for this, and we can add a random size like 20. There we go. You see, it has a thickness of 20. What is the name of the tool? This is a tool that is called SketchB. SketchB, just for writing sketches. And you can see all my sketches are right here. And actually, in case you wanted to invite anyone to collaborate in your tools, you can just click share. Click share, and we have two types of things here. We can enable public link. We can just click here and enable public link. And in this public link, we can either set anyone with that link can be an editor or can be a viewer. Basically, a tool like this, editor, or basically can be a viewer, and they can see it's updating in real time. And for the good thing, you can invite anyone to this board. So let's invite this person as a viewer or as an editor. You see, very cool features here. So once we do this, we can invite anyone. And then, so once we invite that particular person, let me just expose my Gmail for a moment and show you what email we are getting. So we are sending emails. Which email? No reply. There we go. You have been invited into YouTube live board with this beautiful email. What a tool, guys. No, this is awesome. So we are going to vibe code everything from scratch. Why am I saying we are going to vibe code? So what we need to have is the idea. It's just the general idea of what we have. It's just the general idea of what we have in mind. Then from that tool that we have in mind, we are going to see how good can we make this happen? How good can we make this work? And the good thing is awesome. You see, if the latest tool to be updated is here. For example, if I update the next document here with just something small like just moving that, we have made an edit. So if I go back, there we go. This tool is appearing the first. What a great inspiration. What a tool, guys. I can't wait for us to start this. So technologies, what technologies are we going to be using? Purely React, Tailwind CSS, and MongoDB for our database. And of course, Firebase for authentication and for deployment. Yeah, actually, we are going to do that. It's only day one. We are going to do it in series, in several times, like 2-5 lessons, depends with how good we can make this tool work. So let's do this, So where do we get started? It's a new project, zero starting from scratch. Jackie Web Dev, how are you, Jackie? You're not able to sign up. In case you are not able to sign up, it's very simple. just click, you see here, just go to the home page, just go to home page, then click get started. When you get started for free, you'll see the button to sign up right here. You'll see the button to sign up. Just click here, homepage, get started, and then you are going to view the tool. So in case you want also to experiment the same tool that I'm talking about, it's very simple. Let me share this with you guys. Let me share with you guys. Yeah, there we go. There you go. You can experiment that tool. And let me show you something. Let me show you something. All these awesome features that we have added. Very crazy features. Crazy features. Let me show you. Let me show you guys. Go to this account. Let me select a project, Sketch B. See this project right here. It's actually stored in Firebase. I just want to demo all the tools that we have. For example, if I go to where, if I go to, let me explore things like analytics, dashboard, things like analytics, dashboard here. Let it load. You can see how many people are accessing the link as we speak. 2 people. So which 2 people? Here, my device. This is one of the devices that is accessing the website. Then someone else is also accessing the website. From where? From Kenya. What an awesome tool to track everything. It's a complete project with tracking with everything. You guys can't wait for us to start. So let's do this. Let's get started. Let's get started. The normal way that we get started, just create. We are going to do this. Let me just create a new project, new folder, and we are going to call it sketchboard. Let's just call it sketchboard. So in this sketchboard, because it's a fully working website, so I'm going to open it with my tool of choice, my favorite tool, that is Casa AI. So let's wait for Casa to get started. But as we wait for the Casa to get started, or for the app to get started, we are going to do 2 things. Create a fully working front end and a fully working back end. So in this case, we are going to connect APIs, create APIs for our backend that we are going to export and connect to our front end. And everything is going to be real time. We are going to make sure that our API has almost 0 delay and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. The first thing, as usual, setting up our folders. So let's get started by setting up the 2 logics. Let me just zoom this for a moment. You're going to create two folders, that is front end and back end for this system. So in this case, we are going in software engineering, we call it monorepo. Monorepo is where in one repository you host both your backend and your front end in layman's language. So basically, that's what we want to do. We don't want to create a different app, open it with your tool of choice, that is VS Code or something else, then also open your backend in a different instance of VS Code or your editor of choice. You want everything to be in one place. So let's do this. Let's do this. So as we do that, let's see. Let me just welcome you guys. For anyone who is joining, make sure that you click that button, thumbs up button, smash that like button, so that you guys, we keep motivated. Who is here? I can see Jackie Web Dev. Hi Jackie, how are you? I hope you are going to learn. Let me see someone else. Jennifer, how are you? Seems today we have ladies here. We have so many ladies here. Okay, is this VS Code or Casa AI? Mine is Casa AI. Mine is Casa AI. We are going to vibe code. That means we're not going to create any code by ourselves. Only something small by ourselves. We are just experimenting how far can we go with AI. Let me see. Jackie, oops, I just saw that the description. I thought we were using a tool. We are building. Yeah, we are building that tool. We are not using tools. We are building that tool. Why? At some point you can use tools and they are limited in, maybe at some point you have to pay for that tool. As a developer, why can't you just create your own tool? Just a simple tool to do the same thing. Why not? Ooh, Junior, I can see you are very happy. Very. I think now you have your certificate, and yeah, you have your certificate in whatever you are referring to. Junior, I know you are happy. I know you are happy. Gerard, how are you? Nice to see you here, Gerard. You can invite your friends. Feel free to invite your friends to this. So, how do you get started with React app? How do you get started with React app? The first thing that I do is, let's get started with the React app. So how do you get started? You're going to assume that I know nothing about it. I assume that I know nothing about it. So let me just refer to a course here, getting started with React. Getting started with React. React, start now. Let's see. Clearly, I can see these are the commands for starting a new React app. These are the commands for starting React app. You can either use npm, pnpm, or yarn. In my case, I'm using yarn. So I'm going to explain almost every step. In creating React app, or in React, we have different ways of creating React. Now, anyone who is new, what is React? React is, let me just use the simplest terms possible. Take HTML, take CSS, and take JavaScript. Normally, we write them separately. Now, why can't we mix them? We just mix them. React, HTML, and JavaScript. Why can't we just mix them and come up with a language? And that language was called React. Why? Now, React is easy to write. We can package our code in a better way or in structures, and that are called components. Okay? Just with using layman's language for those who are new to React. And of course, on top of that, we are going to add CSS for styling. And our CSS of choice is Tailwind CSS. I'm going to see how we integrate Tailwind with React. But in the meantime, let's set up our React app. So we have seen the command that is yarn creates Vite. So why are we using Vite? Vite is just like an engine that will help us basically make our React app lighter. So let me explain what we mean by light. At some point, back then when React was getting started, it was so hard to get started with React app. So at some point, it's very, very slow. Okay. After being slow, we have so many unnecessary stuff that we don't need. So as someone created Vite, the Vite engine. So this one will help us create lighter apps that are just generally are light. They are not lagging. They don't have all those issues. Yeah, basically that's what we are talking about when we mean light. So yarn create Vite. So let's see what we have here. So what is the project name? So here you are requested to add a project name. And our project name, let's just call it frontend. because purely it's going to use React. With Vite, we can decide which technology do we want to use. We want to use React. So I just use my arrow keys up and down to select the language. So once I'm satisfied with React, I'm just basically going to press enter. So in JavaScript, we have several things that we can do. Different ways of writing JavaScript, either in TypeScript, either in normal JavaScript. So what is the difference between the two? For anyone who is new, when you're writing JavaScript, at some point, it's very hard for you to catch errors or to find this system has some errors, some really weird errors. But why can't we use TypeScript, for example, to catch those errors? I'm just explaining this to anyone who is new to these technologies. Now, which one should you use? Depends with your skill level and your preference. Both can work well, or both definitely work well. But what is your tool of choice? It's up to you to decide. So in my tool of choice, I use TypeScript nowadays a lot of TypeScript nowadays. But let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. JavaScript that everyone can understand. So select JavaScript. Select JavaScript. After selecting JavaScript, okay. So here, over here, you can select if you want to try the new versions of Vite. I don't want to try the new versions of Vite. So let me just stick with the old versions. Do you want to install with Yarn and start now? Yes or no? So I'm going to select yes. And there we go. I'm just going to wait for it to create the template, to create basically the template. It's basically creating the template. Anyone who is on the call, feel free to say hi on the chat as we wait for it to load. So where are you watching this from? Where are you watching it from? Which location? Where are you from, guys? I want to know. I want to shout out most of you guys here. Of course, we have Junior Solo here. And everyone who's joining, subscribe to my channel. You can see it's you're really growing. Only 1.5 thousand subscribers, 1,500 subscribers. You guys promote me. This is all what you can give me. This is more than enough. And also, like that call, give me a like. Henry Oma. Hi, Henry. I know you learn by the end of this. Ooh, Henry from Eldoret. Eldoret is in Kenya. Yeah, we have, who else? Jackie as well from Eldoret. You guys feel free to subscribe. Give me a like. Just give me a like. A like is enough for me. So as we can see, this one has started our app. So if we click this link, we follow this link, you can see, ooh, there we go. We have our React app here with the basic template. That is our basic JavaScript template. So if we view this code, we can see it has created several things. The source folder where every code is going to be stored here in the source. In our app.jsx, here is where we have everything, or our root folder. So in case you're wondering, what is a root folder? A root folder is a case where, for example, that's why we are using React. So the root folder is, for example, we have different apps or different folders, okay? In these different folders, we can package them or we can import them into one file. And that is the root folder, that is the app.jsx. app.jsx. So any file that we are going to later create is going to be stored here in the source directory, and everything is going to be automatically imported here. So yeah, let's add our Tailwind in our application. Let's add Tailwind right here in our application. So I'm just going to cd into front end. Then I'm going to add Tailwind. Just go to the Tailwind documentation website. Tailwind documentation website. Then I'm going to install this. So because I'm using Yarn, I'm going to install this. I'm going to add yarn add Vite yarn add that React that is basically installing Tailwind CSS, and after it's done we'll see some few configurations here. So what is the next step? The next step is just going to where? It's going to our vite.config.ts or js, vite.config.js, and basically add this code. So let's add this code. I'm going to copy this code. Then I'm going to add here vite.config.js. Vite.config.js. So basically, I'm going to replace this. I'm going to save after replacing. Then I'm going to go to my CSS file, my main CSS file. Then in here, my main.css file, I'm going to import this Tailwind in my CSS file. So where do you get your main.css file? Very simple. Go to src, then your main CSS file is this index.css. So basically, I'm going to replace everything inside here with that. Everything that was here was unnecessary, completely unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. So I'm going to replace with the new code. Okay. So after replacing that, we are good to go. We are good to go. Let me see my tool front ends. You can see it has destroyed everything. So we just want to test if this one is working well. So basically, I'm going to go to app.jsx. Then I'm going to delete any code inside here. Then I'm going to replace that with the main. This one is unnecessary for now, and also these three are unnecessary for now. You can see our app is still working. So to test our app is very simple. I'm just going to write h1 and say hello world. Then I should basically see this. Basically see this, and that's really cool up to there. So after up to there, for sure we don't need this app.css file. So I'm going to delete app.css file. Delete. Then I'm going to remain with the index.css. Then I'm going to go to my main.jsx. Main.jsx. Then that one should be working well. Nothing should collapse. Aha, there we go. Our first error. We just started and we have our first error. We just got started and we have our first error. Let's see where we are getting the error. So let me show you how we debug this. Getting started. App.jsx. Oh, yeah, we're importing a file that clearly does not exist. So this one is cool. There you go. It's working. We can see it's working. It's working. So I'm going to use a little bit of CSS here just to test if our Tailwind CSS is working. So here I'm going to do text red 500, then font of bold. Font of bold. Ooh, there we go. There we go. And we can see, yeah, this one is really working. We have our text and we have everything. Actually, we have gotten started with React. Now, all the basic settings, all the basic folders, we have them. So what is the next thing that we are going to do? Purely vibe code. Purely. Nothing else. From the thinking, from accepting the files, everything. So in vibe coding, you can use this panel here, in which you can add anything of your choice here. So as you can see, if I text hello, clearly it's asking me, hello, what do you want? How can I help you? So in your case, you can use this basic editor right here. Then it's going to do everything. So once you ask it to do something, basically code, it's going to code, then it's going to update everything right here. Okay? So you can use that in Casa AI. So what is the trick here? The trick is ask good questions or ask good prompts. Give it good prompts. How? Make sure that you prompt it such that with one prompt, it's not using so much energy or so much tokens, then it's going to basically do everything correct. You can use that. My tool of choice definitely is another tool of choice that I like using, and that is Cloud. In my case, I'm using Cloud. Instead of prompting here, I can basically prompt it right here in my terminal, here. So I hope you guys are ready for us to vibe code this. I hope you guys are ready for us to vibe code this. It's purely English. Let's see how refined our prompting is. But before we go to that, let's understand our tool so that we do nice prompts. Okay? So I'm going to use this similar tool and say YouTube Live here. So I'm going to document everything right here. So let's document. Our first step, we need to design our system so that we know our system flow and our requirements. First of all, this is our website, okay? This is our website. So over here, we need the front, end, okay? So in our front end, we need tools like the homepage or features, not tools. We need features like homepage. We need features like homepage. Tool number 2 that we need is basically login page, login/authentication. The third thing that we need to do is display bolds. That is bolds. You're going to display the bolds. Then that is feature number 3. So feature number 4 that we need is purely the board. Let's call it board canvas. Board canvas is actually this page. You see this page you are viewing right now. This is what we are calling the board canvas. Just see all these awesome features here. You can actually edit everything in real time. The board canvas, that is for our front end. So basically, that's it for our front end. Everything that we need right here. Okay. Now from here, we can think, where do we start? So over here, I'm now going to prompt to build that particular system. This is where the task is, how to prompt, how to make it work. This is where the exam really is. Okay, how can it know the file that you want to replace the code with? Now here, depends with how good you explain what you want. Depends on how good you explain what you want. So the moment that you just explain what you want, the features, it's going to figure out from the list of thousands of files, which file does it need to edit or to add the code in. In case it's trying to create something and that those files do not exist, clearly, it's going to create those files by itself automatically. Okay, this is the hard task, starting this project. So I want to create a tool where people can draw things like I want to create a tool where people can draw things like, let's say, circles. This is the worst prompt I've ever started with. Anyway, I want to create people can draw things like circles, squares, things like circles, squares, etc. So basically, this is a drawing tool. So it's going to, from this prompt, we just told it this is just a drawing tool. But people can draw things like circles, squares, etc. From that context enough. This AI tool should understand, what are we creating? What are we up to? What are we basically up to? It should basically understand, what are we up to? Okay? So what are we up to creating this drawing tool? I want to start with a nice looking homepage where people can homepage with all the information about this tool and what it offers. Okay, so it's basically drawing this tool with all different features, all that it offers. By this, we already have a home page. Okay, I can submit this, but I can give it more context. Always make sure you create a separate component for the navigation bar. Okay, for the navigation bar. This homepage should be very clean with a good UI, with a good UI, with a very good UI, both on mobile, both on large screens and mobile devices. So remember, this is the first prompt, and most of these AI tools use context, use something called context. What is context? Context is you are building this. Try to create some memory of what we are trying to create. In this tool, we are trying to create some memory from where we started. Can I remember? The next time I come to prompt this, what are we building? That is what we call context. The ability to remember, first of all, what is creating and to know exactly what it has to create next in simple terms. So over here, I can decide to submit that. I can decide to add more features. I want my AI to do the most work possible. Also, create a simple page where one can view all boards created. So that is the next file that we need to create. In this front end, it should let me just tag the file. In this front end, it should be ready to receive data from MongoDB. MongoDB, or basically from an API. Yeah, everything should be able to receive data from an API. So I'm going to submit this and just relax and wait for it to do whatever it has to do. So basically, this is an enough prompt for it to get started. For anyone who's new here, is basically day one of Vibe Coding. It's day 8, but this is day one of a new project. It's day one of a new project. So as you can see here clearly, it's trying to think, it's trying to create the home page, it's trying to configure everything. So in case it needs to install anything, it will request me if it can install, for example, like this. Yeah, go ahead and install whatever you need to install. Then it's going to request me permissions to install. Then it's going to install that particular tool or those particular tools. So it's basically thinking as it creates all these components, all these files. So once basically it's done, you'll see some new edits over here. So it's thinking, ooh, there you go. It has created components, but it's an empty folder. It's an empty folder. Everyone who is joining, welcome. Welcome, guys, to the call. Welcome. You are welcome right here on the call. You guys are welcome so much. You guys are welcomed. So let me allow all the edits necessary. So as you can see, it's trying to configure everything for itself. It's trying to configure everything for itself. You guys can give me a like. Feel free to give me a like, guys. I will enjoy so much. Just give me a like. A like is enough. Just a like. Or you can just subscribe to the channel. You can just subscribe to the channel. Yeah, you can subscribe, guys. I'll be so happy if you do that. I'll be so happy if you subscribe to my channel. So basically it's building. So as it builds, let's see if we can create something like MongoDB. Let's see if we can set up our database here. So I'll just go to MongoDB. Then I'm going to log in and create. In case I don't have any account, I can go to MongoDB, then create an account. So let me just log in. Let me just log in. And I'm going to log in with this account. This site can be reached. Anyway, let it fix itself. So basically it's logging in. So once you get right here in MongoDB, this is how you create your first project. If you don't have any projects, just click here, Atlas, then it should be right here. No tool should be here. Okay, no tool should be right here. So in your case, you can create new project. Just click here, new project. And the project, you can call it whatever project name that you want. So in my case, I'm going to call it sketchboard. Let me just call it sketchboard, the name of our application here. Everything here is optional. You can add tag options, then you can click on next. So once it's here, in case you are working as a team, you can add team members. So you can select project category here. So I'm going to create project because there is no one who I need to add as a collaborator in this project. Then it's going to basically create that project. So it will create that project and bring me into this cluster. But let's hold on. Let's see the progress here. It's good. It's good. No changes. Boom. It seems it's ready. So yeah. So as you can see here, we need to create a cluster. Just click create a cluster. Okay. Click on create a cluster. Click on create a cluster. Then it will tell you to pay. It will tell you to pay. So in my case, it's a demo. I can do the free. Basically the free tier or the free tier. Create a free tier, select a free tier and see, do I need to add anything? So over here, you can do the configurations. You can do the configuration, for example, selecting your location. You can select any location of the servers that you You think they are new to you. I'm in Africa. I'm in Africa. So you can either select any provider, AWS, Google, or Azure. So in my case, let me just leave it to default AWS. You can select any, it will work the same, similarly the same, almost the same. So I'll do Berlin. Then you can select any servers of your choice. Let me just go to South Africa. They seem to be near me. So I'm going to select that. Then that one should be added automatically. So let me just create a dedicated cluster. So I can click that, can click the free tier as well. It's just the same. Not much configurations. So you see, it's just the same, just like doing the same thing. Just a different interface. It's just a different interface, but it's all the same. So click on create cluster. As you can see, we are in the free option. So it's basically working on that cluster. So in this session, I'm going to expose most of my API keys because we are learning. I'm going to expose all these API keys, but remember this is a demo project, so there's nothing you can do. So you see this password here, this username and password, and this password here. It's for that specific project. You see that specific project that we have created, that is Sketchb, is the password for that entire project, okay? So in that case, I'm going to do what? I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this password. Then let's follow the steps. Then I'm going to store it somewhere safe. The only place that I know that I'm safe is if I just come here and create a .env file. And in this case, I can just call it MongoDB project password. You can just call it MongoDB project password. Then in the meantime, I can just save it with no particular order. So I'm just going to expose this, no problem. It's all about demo. So once I'm done, I'm going to create that user. There we go. It has created that user, and that user, we add that user and the user password. Okay. So after that, this is my IP address. This is my IP address. For example, let me explain how this works. In case yours works and at some point it won't work. You see, the time I'm setting up this project, I'm in this IP address. So I'm going to finish with that. So there we go. It is finishing everything. It is basically fixing everything. And you can see I have my clusters. So you can try to explore everything right here, you see. But before we do that, remember, we are using front end here, right? How do we connect MongoDB to our front end or to our back end? There's something called connection string. So I'm going to get this connection string. I'm just going to click this, get a connection string. Then, in my case, I'm going to copy this connection string. See this specific, this large screen, this large code or this merge code here. I'm going to copy that code. So after copying, I need also to store it in a safe place. So oops. So basically I can call this Mongo connection. In the meantime, I'm just going to save it right there. So I'm just storing this for future. I'm not using them right now, just storing this for future. Then I'm going to click done. Okay, I have that connection string with me. Okay, yeah, I can see Sammy. Yeah, it's time to understand this MongoDB and thing. Okay, so we are done by getting the connection string. So you can decide to explore most of these features here. You can explore, you can click on connect just to explore all these connection string here. So you can decide to connect your cluster with Campus, that is MongoDB Campus, and that is basically accessing your project online. It's basically like accessing your project online. So this is the connection string, in which clearly is the same as this: project name, project password, majority cluster 0. It's fine. So yeah, you can do that in case you want to connect. In case you want to edit configurations, there we go. No problem. Okay? No problem. Have no problem. So in MongoDB, you can explore all these different features right here. So I can decide to go to things like stream processing, migrations, data, federations, all through. Now, let's assume you want to add some data in MongoDB. How can you add that? You can just click add data here. Then in clicking add data, you can create your own data set in case you have your own data set. But in case you just want the database to get started, just in case you wanted to get started, just in case, I mean, in case you just wanted to get started, feel free to use this load sample. So this one will basically load sample data in your database, and then you are going to see how your database really looks like. You are going to see how your database basically looks like. So I can just click load, then it's going to load our sample data set. So we are just loading a simple data set here for our database not to be empty. And imagine with that, I don't think if you are going to ever touch MongoDB again until the end of the project. Whatever we are going to add or configure is just like testing how our data is being saved or our data looks like. So everything that you are going to do later is mostly confirming how is this looking like. Things like those, just confirming how things clearly look like. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. Now it's loading our MongoDB dataset, and clearly we are done. We can even close this, but no need. Let it just load this. Let's go back to our code, setting up the front end, and see how far everything is. Clearly you can see our code. It says everything seems was ready. It seems everything was ready. So we are going to see to our code and see, whoo, just see this. This is the front end that it has created, Sketchboard. It has just created this simple front end for us from a simple description. from a simple description. You see this? Start drawing, you can start drawing, but you can view all these different sketches here. And actually, nothing works here. As you can see, nothing is going to work here. Why? We were setting up the template. Nothing crazy. We are just setting up the template. Nothing is supposed to be crazy up to this point. Okay? Up to this point, nothing is supposed to work. But our front end is working. Our homepage is working. We have a good place to start. A good place to start. Now let's do the next challenge. Challenge number 2. Basically, challenge number 2. What is the challenge number 2? Challenge number 2 is now creating or working on those different functionalities. So where do we get the functionalities from? Most these functionalities, we are going to get them from backend. And in backend, we are using Node.js. For the backend, we are using Node.js. Okay? We are using Node.js. So I think we need to set up our Node.js so that we start working on our MongoDB and connecting with our live server and so on. Let's do this. Where do we get this? Where do we get this? So we have this. Let me think. So it's our time to create our backend. It's time to create our backend. Now, as you can see, we have our first folder. That is the front end. I want us to create folder number 2. That is purely backend. Backend. So here we are going to store any code that is backend related. Okay, that is backend related, and here is where our front end is hosted. And here is our backend, where we are going to purely use Node.js. But do you know how we are going to use Node.js? Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. So we are relying on, basically we are relying on cursor or on prompts for it to create the front end. So let's do this. Let's create our front end. That is backend, sorry. Now, I want to create the backend. Let me just tag the file, the backend. Okay, let me see where I'm at this point. At backend. This makes sense. At backend, I want to create the backend infrastructure. Structure. Here, I want to create the backend infrastructure for this project. Okay. So what does the backend infrastructure contain? The backend is Node.js, Express. I'm going to explain Express.js, and MongoDB. MongoDB. So here, you see, we want to create the backend infrastructure. The backend is Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB. We have already explained what we need here, the languages that we need. Now, what we need to explain is the features that we need and how we are going to use these features. Okay? So, what do we need to do? Let's take some time and think. Okay. I don't just think. Let me think here. Let me basically think through here. So I need the back end. In the backend, I need features like connect to MongoDB. Feature number 2 is create a board. Okay. Because we can create a board, that means clearly we can edit and delete a board. Okay. Basic features or basic functionalities right there. What next? These are the main features that we need for us to get started, the getting started features. Then the ultimate feature, connect these two front end. So we have 2 more prompts to do. The first prompt is, what is the first prompt that we need? I think the first prompt that we need is basically this one, to create or to set up the backend. So let me think from here. This should write code to connect to MongoDB. Should write code to connect to MongoDB, create a board, edit and delete a board functionalities. Okay. Make sure you create a working code. After creating, also connect the backend to connect the, let me just start this backend. Connect the backend with the front end. Connect the backend with the front end and ensure one can create their first board. Make it work with no errors for it to test against itself. Make sure that you connect and make sure that it works. So connect and make sure that everything works. So this is the first prompt that we need before we now start adding now these crazy uh, features. So let's just submit this. That's a lot of work. So let's just submit it. So it's basically creating that and it will make sure that everything works. So as we wait for that to work, guys, give me a moment. I'll be back. Okay, so this is working. Allow. This one is working well. So let's see. This one is actively working on it. Actively working on this. Actively. So it's making sure that everything works. So it's connecting to MongoDB, it's creating a connection. It's creating a connection here in the backend. You see in the backend, it has already created these files. So here I'm going to create the MongoDB URI cross origin. In which no problem. I'm going to show you. Remember this connection string that we used here and the password here. We are going to import them here and make sure that everything works there. So we are going to make sure that all that works. So let's wait for it. Let's wait for it. So this is working. This one is creating the board roads. So we can explore what's happening here in the backend. So in the backend, when you see here, there's SRC folder. You can see the database configuration is here, code for connecting to MongoDB. It's creating middleware to handle errors and the platform safety. It's adding validation JS for boards. Then it's creating the models here to make sure that it models the database, everything that it needs to. Then it's also creating the routes. The routes is basically the pages slash. For example, the routes are, let me show you the example. You see here, sketch B slash board slash board ID. So it's defining these routes. That's what we are calling the board routes. So this one should test, make sure that everything works. So it will test, and if by any chance it finds that we have a file that is not working, it will fix by itself. So it will try, then it will fix itself. So in the meantime, let me just test the backend by myself. CD backend, then node. Let me see. What do we have? Node server.js. Ooh, it seems the backend is working. It's connected. Let's see what we have here in this URL. It seems now we can clearly create a board, but we are going to test that. But before we test that, let's connect, make sure that our database is fully connected. Our database is fully connected. So I'm going to get this first env file. Okay, let me just edit here, right here. I don't know if this is the correct way, but I guess if it fails, we are going to remove this. Then I'm going to copy this Mongo connection URL, then go to the backend env, then connect the MongoDB URI here. Save. Now this one should start with no errors. So this one is trying now to connect. Ooh, it seems something failed. But authentication failed. Why? Cross origin and development port 5000. This is port 5713. 5713 for the bots. So at some point, if you are vibe coding, sometimes you're also required to know how these things work. You're required to know how these things work. So let me fix this. This one is very easy. So it seems server was running smoothly. Environment development, fine. Health check. Error connecting MongoDB, bad authentication. Authentication failed. Okay. Okay, let me test once more. Ooh, it connected. Now my MongoDB is connected. My MongoDB is connected well. Now this is how you should connect it. So my MongoDB is ready to receive any boards. So if it's ready to receive any boards, so that means in my case here, I should be able to create simple boards. If I click create board, no, start drawing, view boards, click create board. That is fine. That is perfectly fine. So this one, it seems it's connected successfully. So I can come here in app.js. Let me just test the API first. Route not found. Let me check this. The routes health API/boards. Just want to make sure that these APIs are working. Can see no data, limit of 20. That is perfectly fine. Yeah. Now it seems MongoDB is connected. So what do we need to do here? The only thing that we need to do here, it's now I want when one clicks the buttons to create a board, then it should create a board on MongoDB and redirect the user to a page that is board canvas page where one can add shapes etc for that board. First, it should create a board without a name. Then one can later edit the board name. So I'm trying to achieve this functionality here. This functionality where one can just click here and can create a board, then one can rename that board later when they want to. Okay. Make sure this works and the front end is connected to the database, to the backend. I mean, it's connected to the backend. So I'm going to submit that prompt, then you are going to wait and see. So clearly, you see these features that we have achieved. How many prompts have we done? Depends on how good you can be in prompting. This is the third prompt. The first prompt was creating the front end, the structure. The second prompt was clearly creating the back end. The third prompt is now defining the features that we need in this particular backend and front end. Only 3 prompts, and we have achieved this kind of systems. So in AI, sometimes you can prompt like 10, 15 prompts, but you still don't have the answer of what you are clearly looking for. So whatever you need to do, just get good in prompting. Take your time, explain the features that you want, explain everything that you want in that single prompt, then it's going to build exactly that. So always make sure that you know what you want. Always define what you want in your prompts. So this is the third prompt, and we already have some crazy tool. Now assume if we do like 15 prompts, you can do some crazy stuff. If we just do like 15 prompts, you can do some crazy stuff, guys. So actually this is building, no problem. So let's wait for it to keep on building. So it will make sure that everything now works. You can see here, it's clearly updating because we can't see any boards, because the previous ones were dummy boards. But now these boards seems to be the good one. So let's wait for it to complete the board canvas. Jackie, you have been prompting a lot, like you are creating so many prompts, but you are not getting the expected output. In prompting, you just need to get good into it. Well, describe what you have or what you want. Clearly, before I prompt, you can see I'm just coming here and making sure that I think. So, I mean, basically, before you create something, just think, what do you want first? I need this, that should do this and this. Now, once you get the clear structure of what you want, then prompting, it's very easy. Just prompting, it will be very easy, guys. Prompting that tool will be so easy. I can see you guys are learning something on how to prompt. This one is still creating, so give it time. So you see, the good we prompt, the more time is taken to create all the features that we need, okay? Yeah, Derek, you are saying, have you ever used Excalibur? Might get some cool features from that type of whiteboard. Yeah, I use Excalibur a lot, you guys. In case you want to see this, Derek, in my list of extensions, you should see Excalibur here. Excalibur is here. Yeah, I use Excalibur a lot. That's where I got the inspirations for creating similar tool. The inspirations for creating similar tool. So I can show you, for example, my thinking process on Excalibur. It's just like another tool. You see all these are just sample things that I work on Excalibur. You can get inspirations uh, on creating this tool exactly we are creating from Excalibur. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, thank you, Derek. That's where I actually got this inspiration. But at some point, unless you pay for Excalibur, there are some features that you are going to miss, or some diagrams, I think. So I took the challenge to create mine, just a simple one. A simple one. I took the challenge to create this one. I just experiment. Excalibur seems crazy. How do developers create that? That's not really hard. I can test my skills, my thinking process, and see if I can come up with, of course, with the assistance of AI, to see if I can come up with a similar tool. You just test your skills, how good you can be. So most of these developers that you see, they know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of stuff because you see these some crazy tools that we use online. They can say, how do these systems work? Can I create a simple program that maybe emulates or simulates or copies one of the features from those platforms? Then if I build one feature today, the next feature tomorrow, things like that, I can accumulate so many features. Now let's say at some point that I can be creating a client's project or my own project or company's project. Then we need to create a simple board in that system, because I know how boards work and board systems work clearly. Clearly, I can create those features comfortably. Ooh, it seems everything now is working. It seems it has edited this, so let's test this out. So if this one works, you're done, guys. If it works, this one is going to be crazy. We're going to throw a grand party. If it works with 3 prompts, create a board, creating a board. Fail to create a board, please try again. Why? Undefined ID, boards.js. It is saying undefined ID. So is the backend working? Okay. This one is fine. It is saying undefined ID. So I'm going to go straight to MongoDB and see if by any chance it created that particular board. You have a lot of data here. In case you don't want this data, I'm going to delete this data. Let me just delete this data because I don't need it. Ooh, I get you, I get you, I get you. I get you, Derek. You're saying for Mac, everything is unrestricted. Yeah. Okay. We are getting one weird problem here with our code. Remember, we got an error where the ID is not defined, right? But in our MongoDB, we can see that board has been created. Okay, that board has been created. So that's a nice challenge. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's really a good one. So what we are going to do as the final features is create a board and navigate to that particular page. So how do we do that? How do we go about it? How do you go about it? So let's fix this. This one is very easy. So I'm going to read the error. It is saying feed forge board. Hmm. Let me copy this. Then I'm going to return it to cloud. This is working pretty well. Pretty well. But when I click create a board, it creates on the backend. It creates on the backend. That is in the sorry. So you see, it can create a backend in the database, but it's not navigating slash redirecting the user to the board canvas. It is given the following error. Make sure to fix this. And sorry, I'm having some warm water and cold water. So let us see. Pontification or pontificating. Let's see how it works. Yeah, Sammy, you have a suggestions for prompting. One can try prompt perfect AI. It says it strengthens your prompt and make sure that it is effective. Yeah. So make sure that you can try that prompt AI, perfect AI, prompt perfect AI. Yeah, it's a good one. You can try it out. So this is the fourth prompt. We don't want to go with more than 5 prompts without getting a working system. So, my boards. You remember that we created boards? It should be able to show the boards here, but it's fine. It's not showing. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Model that you can use in Casa, or you just use the agent mode. I use the agent mode and actually the default mode because I'm using cloud. I'm using the default. I'm using the default mode agent. So it will just select the best agent for whatever task I've done here or whatever task I'm requesting it to do. Okay, it's fixing this. Okay, we are just fixing this. Then we call it a day. Let's make sure this one works. You make sure this works. It's actually testing the bots. Okay, you guys make sure that you test everything that you add. Okay. Okay. It's doing this. Let's see. Working. It's working. Worry not. It's going to fix this. It's going to fix by itself. Okay, this is working well. Still working. So it's clearly working on this. So once it's done this, you're going to test it. Then you're going to call it a day. Testing. It's fine. It's fine. Complete building. Complete building. Few boards. It's actually reading the code and fixing all this by itself. But sometimes AI is crazy. How is it doing this? Topsy Turvane. What is Topsy Turvane? It just found an error fetching boards. Why can't it fix? Everything seems to be healthy. Ooh, finally it's fixing the error. So if I go to here, the API, it's not actually fetching any boards, yet we have boards. So actually it should have that. Board routes. Ooh, it's adding more code. in which I want that. Clearly, I want that. Ooh. Still, it's getting errors fetching boards. Why? Actually, it's almost getting out of context. Let me see. Error fetching boards. Error fetching boards. Still getting this, still failing. This is a strange because post works get doesn't. Since successfully created the bots, MongoDB connection and the bot model are working. The issue is specifically getting the bots. Even the AI itself is saying it doesn't know why it's not working. I've never seen that. This is really new even to AI. So it's like, okay, it seems we have an instance that is running, saying that we have a running instance. How can be that true? How can that be true? Let me clear this. I'm going to start both front ends. Ooh, front end is not working again. It crashed. And this one should be working now. If I start the backend on server.js, testing health, MongoDB connected, test the bot. Up to there. It cannot log any error. What about here? Ooh, actually this is getting the boards. You see here, in the API here, it's not working. It's getting all the boards. You only have one board, test board, and the untitled board. But this crazy front end can't fetch the boards. Why? Let me see, let me see. Oh, cross origin policy. Access controls. I know. This is the smallest issue. Now this is working. Ooh, there we go. Now the front end can't show the boards because of the following errors. Fix the errors on course. That was simple. And this one should be failed to create a world. Okay, this one should be cause problem again. Let me see if this one is still working. There you go. There you go. You have two boards. It's actually working. This one is cool. Actually, finally it's working. The API is fetching the boards from our check, but only the front end is not displaying the boards, in which this is not a big deal because it's about to fix. My friend AI, it's about to fix. This one is very simple. Actually, we can check from our MongoDB database and see we have some collections here. We should be having two boards. Yeah, we have two. We have two boards. Our API worked correctly. This one, don't mind about this, it's fixing. It will fix by itself. So let me just first terminate that. The front end is working. Okay, let this one build. Okay, let this one finish compacting and building. Ooh, it's brewing. It's brewing. It's getting this working. Actually, you see, my cloud code is actually hallucinating. It's actually failing. And imagine this is a pro tool that is paid. Okay, it's fixing validation reference error. This one should be very easy. Error line 13. Gets route. Validation research error, reference error. Worry not, this one is going to work. Never mind about that. Course configuration, no problem. Configure your course as much as you want. Testing API endpoint stability. Ooh, success. This is data success, endpoint server stability. Boards are created successfully. Testing API endpoint server stability, no problem. Perfect. Board creation working successfully. Let's check the board server logs. Excellent connection. because enabled working or API calls are being logged, debugging middleware. This one is working. Let me just start the front end now. This one seems to be working, front end. Hi, what's up? Backend, front end is running on this port. That's a small problem. Let me cut this. Clear yarn dev. Boards. Actually, the boards are working. Not server.js. And let me connect to MongoDB. There we go. Refresh. There we go. See our boards. We have 3 boards. I can delete this. Are you sure you want to delete? There. Oh, even the delete is working. Ooh. Refresh, no board. Create new board. Ooh, finally. It worked. It finally worked. I can create the board title and say my first working board. In which, don't worry about the shapes. Don't worry about the shapes, how they look at the moment, because it's working. Let's leave it at this point. Wow. Because it's just working, we leave it at that point. You can create a new board. There we go. A rectangle, a small rectangle. Don't worry about where you are starting to create. Actually, this cursor should create exactly there. But that's not a deal. That's not a big deal. The fact that it's working with actual color picker, it's way more than enough. If I refresh, if I refresh, nothing changes. See, if I refresh like there, it's actually saving in my database. So clearly this works. And yeah, that's it for what we have built for today. It's working. We are viewing boards. Now, as from the next time that we are doing vibe coding, we are going to make sure now we think about adding other features. What extra features can we add? Can we add more shapes? Can we add more shapes? Can we add more tools? Can we make sure that it's perfect? Can we add things like scrolling? Can we make sure that everything works correctly? So basically that's what we are going to be building next time. Basically that's what we are going to be building next time. Make sure that all these features work without no problem. Just making sure that all these features are well aligned. So that's it, guys, for today. Thank you whoever joined. Thank you everyone who joined. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys, and I appreciate. See you in the next session. It finally worked. Have a lovely day and lovely evening. Thank you, Faisa. Thank you, Faisa.